I wanted to go a bit deeper with the subject because I know that, as I was mentioning earlier, you studied abroad, you studied also and worked across different industries, uh, but you've always had this sort of focus, right? And I want us to go a bit deeper. And for us to be able to do that, I did a bit of research. As you all know, I'm going to put things into perspective a bit. So, according to the World Bank, to their estimates and recent studies as well, Kuwait generates roughly between 2.5 to 3 million tons of waste every single year. On a per capita basis, they're saying that's among the highest globally. We're talking around 1.6 to 1.7 kg per person per day, which is more than double the global average. And yet, we're talking about lower rates of recycling compared to more mature markets. So, that clearly signals a gap. Now, when we look, for example, at specific areas of recycling, like we were just discussing, plastic, we know that globally less than 10% of the plastic waste gets recycled. And when we look in this region specifically, we know that the numbers are unfortunately even much lower than that. So I wanted to ask you, where do you think we actually stand today in terms of waste management, recycling, and environmental infrastructure?
We actually recently looked at the per capita production of waste in Kuwait. The peak reached about 2.4 kilos during Corona. I guess everybody was just sitting in the house and not doing anything and ordering or whatever, so producing more waste. Now, thankfully, it has gone down to around 1.5 kilo in Kuwait per house, but still, there's a significant amount of waste generated from every household in Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
The issue here with Kuwait, we're very pampered, and the problem starts at the very beginning, whereby I take out my trash every single day at night, and by morning it's disappeared. Nobody actually sees the back of what's going on or what it takes for all this just to disappear. So we're a little bit pampered. Other countries in the world have put into place initiatives whereby, for example, in Korea makes sure that you minimize your trash by charging you significant amounts for the trash bag. I believe trash bags in Kuwait, which are thankfully mostly recycled and produced locally from recycled plastic.
Okay, this is great.
Yes. The plastic bag in Korea will cost you about $2 to $3 a bag.
Yes.
In Kuwait, you can buy 10 bags for less than 300, 400 fils.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's $1 for 10 bags versus $3 for a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So then you start thinking, if I'm taking out 2 bags of trash a day, by the end of the month, the numbers start to add up. So I start to look at how am I going to reduce my trash from the beginning, because I don't want to buy more bags, for example. Other nations, mostly Europe, there's a single day pickup trash. So Tuesday is trash day, for example.
Yes,
so then
exactly.
you can think, like, okay, I'm going to have to put 2 bags a day. So by Tuesday, I've got 14 bags. Where are these 14 bags going to live? If you think about the amount, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So people automatically say, okay, I'm going to reduce. These things I can reuse. These things I'll put in the recycle. So bottles or plastics, and I can keep those. They don't start to smell. Food will start to smell. So these initiatives are not in place in Kuwait, but there are quite a few companies, in terms of the infrastructure part of your question, there are quite a few countries that actually collect, or companies that actually collect in Kuwait. There are drop-off points. Industry is quite good with that because they're mandated to treat all their waste and prove that they've been treated. The households is somewhat different. There is a big area for growth there.
I've seen, talking about what you mentioned, I've seen that in Europe there's this practice, and I've seen it back home as well, where every household has multiple trash containers, let's call them, or waste containers, and then they are divided according to categories. So you have the household waste, let's say, but then you have the perishables, but then you have plastics, and then you have, if I'm not mistaken, glass also. So they're trying as much as possible to divide them, so then when they come collect them, they're already separated.
That's a big issue for us in Kuwait. It's not segregated. Not being segregated has a couple of different issues related to it. For example, if you take paper and cardboard. Now, paper and cardboard is recyclable. Plastics is 100% recyclable. Metals are 100% recyclable. Okay. But the paper and cardboard, once it's in the trash can and you've had your matchboos lunch,
Okay.
and that gets thrown into the trash bag as well, that
Hmm.
paper has now significantly reduced in value because it's gotten contaminated.
Yes.
Okay, so that is one issue with the segregation. The second issue with the segregation is we put everything in one bag. So therefore, when companies like us receive, we can't receive a bag like that because that goes to the Kuwaiti landfill. But we do receive products that are contaminated. Plastic bottles are used for various things. You know, after you finish the water, you put some detergent or something like that to store, or gasoline or whatever. That makes it more difficult for us to process and wash because there are heavier contaminants in it. By mixing everything all together, it makes segregation more difficult. You need bigger machines, you need more sophisticated machines to separate the metals and the plastics and the cardboard from each other. But these things are doable.
Hmm.
Um, what would assist in making these things doable is a significant operation at the landfill level.
Hmm.
That would, many countries do that. They take the municipal waste and they throw them into these big segregation machines. Metals are very easy because they're heavy and they're quite a bit of it magnetic. Glass also is quite heavy. Plastics, you can use optical separators, as well as eddy current separators or shakers that shake everything off. And then the organics and the food, then you can actually do more than one thing. I mean, you can actually probably, if you have a good segregation system on the organics, you can create compost. That's the most famous or easiest done. But then you can actually take, for example, the bones or and stuff like that and make soil enhancers, or you can actually make protein,
Okay.
but not human consumption protein.
Tarek, you mentioned us being in an environment that is, rich in services,
Hmm.
and this leads obviously to a lot of waste. But we're looking at the countries around us who are more developed, who maybe have obviously more visitors, more tourists. We're talking about more waste, right?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, from a recycling facility perspective and an initiative perspective, let's call it, where does Kuwait stand compared to bigger markets in the region, let's say Saudi or UAE?
The Saudis now are putting in a lot more enforcement onto their environmental laws. So they're slowly now developing a lot more of the infrastructure that's required to process all these types of wastes. UAE, I believe, are maybe a little bit more in front of us because they also have very strict rules, and they process and recycle better than us. Saying so, we're not that bad in Kuwait, by the way. The There is, if I walk you through the trash bag being put on the pavement and what happens to it before it gets to the landfill, it's actually being picked. So if you see in Kuwait, a lot of the times you'll have the plastic trash bag out, and next to it there's some cardboard or a washing machine or a little toaster or something like that.
Okay.
There are vehicles that travel around every night before the municipality come and will
Hmm.
take that cardboard. And they
Hmm.
will also take the toaster because these things are directly recyclable. And there are
Hmm.
collectors that collect these things and trade and sell and bring them to factories like ours for plastic, the other ones for cardboard, and stuff like that. So it actually does get picked. And a lot of the recyclables, or many of the recyclables, are taken out, but they don't have a lot of time. When they take the trash bag and they put it in the back of the dumpster, they will actually open it up and collect what they
Yes.
can collect out of it very quickly. So if you see the dumpster truck at night, you'll see all the fruit baskets, those orange carton baskets, they're hanging on one side. Then
Okay.
they've got a couple of other bags on the other side where they put cans, like Coke cans and stuff like that.
But since you mentioned this, I'm going to just make a brief bracket here. For people watching us, in case you have any tips for us, if we want to recycle any older appliances at home,
There,
is there a specific place where we can take them?
take them, yeah. Now, there are a couple of companies that are operating collection points and collection initiatives. So
Hmm.
you can take them there. I mean, if you have significant quantities, we could take them.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there are collection points. the municipality has tried to establish collection points, but I don't think they've been used properly, and they haven't been promoted properly. Supermarkets, cooperative supermarkets, have drop-off points mainly for plastic, and you can do that. The cooperatives also significantly recycle a lot of the cardboard that comes in with all the product. There's a lot of recycling done on that because they actually collect it. Whoever's
Yes.
doing the cleaning for the supermarket has a little side business of putting the carton together, all right, and then selling it off to all the carton recyclers or carton traders. So that actually gets processed on a little bit larger scale. We need more drop-off points. We don't drop off cans. We don't drop off bottles. Plastics, there are some, I think, more availability for plastic opportunities.
Could these drop-off points be in the city, or do they have to be necessarily at the outskirts? Because I know for the facilities themselves for processing, I know that they need to be either in industrial areas or designated areas for these activities. But when we talk about collection points, could those be in the city?
They should be everywhere, because even when you're at work and you're in the city, you are producing waste. So you should be able to have an opportunity to put it into a recycling bin. Mainly they are in, like I say, the cooperatives, and mainly it's plastic that are available for drop-off points. There's one company in particular that has this system, and they have quite a few. I believe they have over 70 or 80 drop-off points. Am I allowed to discuss
please,
companies?
please, please.
Well, you should check up on Omnia.
Okay.
Omnia have quite a mature recycling pickup scenario, and they collect these, and then we just recently signed an MOU with them to take all those plastics that they've collected.
Amazing. I
So,
actually know them because I used to live in Salmiya, not very far from one of their collection points. So I used to put my plastic aside and recycle.
Yeah. They're doing a good. They've done a couple of initiatives with schools as well, which was actually, I thought, quite a brilliant activity, because they get the little kids to think about it from the beginning. So if the little kids are bringing in these recyclables and collections and stuff like that, that's very positive. And then, of course, it's taking away what's going into the landfill, which is also very positive.
For sure, I think education in this specific sector is important, and it's important for people to understand that. But I want to look at it a bit from a corporate perspective, because we keep talking about environmental responsibility. Every corporation now talks about ESG initiatives, and there is so much resistance around it, and people questioning, is this really valuable? Does it really translate into actual, factual things from an operational perspective? And I wanted to ask you, do you feel that we're actually making progress, tangible progress, or you think we're still at a narrative level?
I think we're past the primary level. I think we're a little bit more advanced than just being very basic. ESG programs are mandated by the Capital Markets Authority for all publicly traded companies. And they must have an ESG program. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's recycling or environmental. It could be community service. So it's not always, their focus is not always on environmental initiatives or recycling initiatives. Saying so, there has been a lot more activity in terms of cleaning. But the beginning step, I believe it is really awareness, because if the awareness is there, then people will actually just, first step, not throw things in the wrong place. I mean, even if they don't have a bin, keep it in your pocket until you get home, then throw it away. Okay, but unfortunately, some people here don't do that. You'll see there's so many clean the beach initiatives. Well, why is there trash on the beach at the beginning? So that's where I believe awareness will play a key part to help clean up the environment to begin with. Now, having more drop-off points, having different types of drop-off points, I think will also assist significantly.
But I want to know, what do you think are currently the gaps? Why do you think we're not doing more of that?
Okay. The trash, the moment you put your plastic bag on your pavement, that is legally the municipality's property. So touching it, quote unquote, It's not supposed to happen. So therefore, drop-off points will have to be licensed.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you license a drop-off point?
I don't know. You tell me.
No, that's for I'm just a rhetorical question. But the supermarket, the cooperative, has its compound. It has the supermarket itself. It has all the little shops, so it can control that area. But if you're talking about in the middle of Salmiya, this is a public street. How come I can put something there? That needs to be licensed by municipality. Municipality have a little bit of a different point of view on these drop-off points. They want them to be controlled. They want them to be in a location that is maybe not prominent in the middle of the street, so people use them as general trash. That's another one of the issues. I mean, awareness could really assist it. A lot of these recycling bins, the plastic, the cardboard, the metal, you open and look inside, and it's a mix of everything. So it's not really segregated. Oh, it's just a trash can. I'll throw it in there anyway. I'm doing my job. I'm not throwing it on the street.
Yeah.
So more drop-off points, more awareness, I think would be significant assisting.
But who do you think should take the lead more in this sense? Do you feel that at the current moment, due to the current circumstances, it would be more of the responsibility of the public sector to drive these initiatives more, to incentivize? Or do you feel that the private sector needs to be a bit more active in their initiatives?
We all have to be more active. We really need to do something because this is our environment. This is for our kids tomorrow. In Kuwait, from a sustainability point of view, we have, I think, above average allergic conditions with a lot of people. We have a lot of asthma, and this is due to air pollution. So pollution needs to be controlled by everybody, private, public, and everybody at home. Everybody should put their foot forward and do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.